Oh, homies, join me. Today was a roller coaster of emotions because, there's times when you're going to show up and you've worked 3 12-hour shifts in a row, staying up all night. Not that you want to, but that's just the job. And then you sleep for 6 hours because it's near damn impossible for me to go back and forth from the gym and work without getting any more. But regardless of that, I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, my schedule's so hard. Because I chose this schedule. I chose to be forced to stay up all night and then go to the gym immediately after for 3 hours and then stay back up all night because I got to go back to work in 35 minutes. However, things can always come around, it kind of sucks because I basically wake up and go straight to the gym. Even though it's like 3 to 4 p.m., it's still like the equivalent of, on a normal day, me waking up at 8 a.m. and then going straight to the gym, and I would still be just as tired, even if I got a little bit more sleep, because I don't like doing that heaviest stuff right when I get my eyes open. So I got in, and yeah, the clean and jerks were hard. The only rep I really wasn't proud of was the second one on 185 because I just completely locked out. I just was like, I do not care. And I just whipped it without even trying to support my core, just kind of let it crash on me. And none of the reps today were quote unquote bad. I hit all pretty decent technique and good lockouts. That's what matters. And it was the matter of, I already knew going into it was going to be lighter today. I had so little energy. The pre-workout did not do shit. I don't take a lot, but it should do a little bit more for how little caffeine I typically intake. Oh, and when I did 225 for a double, I was like, yeah, we are stopping at 255 today. Because again, maybe on a better week, on a different type of work schedule, 275 double would have been fine. But it's not worth pushing if I'm already questioning the technique, Because sure, strength-wise, I might be able to throw it, but that's not what this new program's about. I told you guys originally that I was going to keep it to where, like, some days I keep it where I give myself the chance to go heavy. Some days I force myself to go lighter. But I'm honestly shifting toward the idea that everything needs to be based off my technique, because it already is that way at its core. And I'm realizing that with my current work schedule, like when I did this program over a year ago, I wasn't working, I was just in school and it was online. I'm going to be honest, I didn't do shit other than sleep, eat, and go to the gym. So I had all the energy I ever needed, And so now that I have all this work behind me, it's more so trying to do these exercises and these lifts while factoring in the excess fatigue I have, doing as heavy of a, not as heavy, but doing whatever lift, no matter the weight, as long as the technique is my standard of perfect for what I'm currently capable of. Everything feels good. I'm not at risk for injury. I'm not blowing up my CNS and destroying my core like the glass castle it used to be. And more than that, it's if I have the energy alone, like mentally, because you can't even begin to do any sort of lifting if you're not willing to throw yourself under the barbell before you even pick it up, And so I just focus fully on tech. And so my whole point, sorry, I keep going back and forth, is that it's not just going to be about heavy and recovery days. I want every day to adhere to the energy that I have that day. But rather than how I was before, worrying solely about how heavy I could go and then destroying my core and letting my body blow up every day, I want it to be focused on the core and the technique first, and then the strength second, So then I have the best base possible and the best conditioning possible for the future of my lifts. So even though today was my quote-unquote heavy squat day, and I did get to push it pretty hard, I actually stopped myself before, like, I think I would have had maybe one more set. But it's the fact of, I did the 255 clean and jerk, the double, felt fine. It was way slower than I wanted it to be. But again, I felt that energy going in. I just focused on technique. I made it look fucking good, regardless of my low back being tired as hell. And I've been leaning over the bar a little bit more to get my shoulders over the bar where it should be. And it's using a little bit more low back than I'm used to. So I was hurting a little bit today. So I had no expectations for squat. I was like a 385 triple. It's not heavy compared to what I've been doing, but it's the start. This is my first time doing a doubles and triples week on this new programming. So, got to start at ground zero. And let me tell you, I am emphatic to say that regardless of me getting a little slow on the squats, my obliques were pretty burnt out when I was already picking it up, but I stuck to the core and the technique first. The stability of the lift, the foot positioning, the drive through, the ass to grass positioning, everything, just putting my 100% into the technique first, and then got to 405 for a triple. I cannot tell you how ecstatic I am about that. If I had the sleep that I wanted behind it and the energy that I normally used to have, I probably would have put on 425 easily today, for sure. And I almost did. But if you are going to tell yourself that you feel like shit for an entire workout and then only convince yourself to add weight once you've hit that top set because you get all excited and shit, maybe don't. You can always add more later. But if you add more in that moment and it's too much and it blows up your CNS and messes up your fatigue, you're fucked. You're going to have to take extra rest days and extra recovery days, and that's not fun. So I kept that as my basis, which is higher than I thought it was going to be anyway, and I'll get to work on it again the next time I squat. And so instead of my next squat day being solely a light recovery day, I'm just going to keep it based off of technique and core first, for sure. But if I have the energy to do it, I'm going to try to match it. That's what I used to do. But the issue was before I was basing it all off strength first, technique second. And so I try to match, I remember when I hit 445 on squat for 4 for the first time, and I tried to do it twice in 1 week. I perished. It was good, and that's actually what took my left quad tendon out when it initially got injured. But it was just too much strength building in such a short amount of time for me to keep up with it. My main point with all of that, because I know it sounds like a lot of complaining, but I'm very, very happy with the effort I put in. And again, the technique is shining through, so well. I could not be happier. But I'm sure a lot of you've heard this, but I was in the gym today, and I was shooting the shit with some of the homies that stopped by, and telling them how these 12-hour night shifts have made me rethink my programming, go base more off the volume and the technique and the core, really adhering to that, because my sleep schedule is no longer going to be the same. Even if I start working day shift, it's still going to be long shifts on top of my gym and college. So sleep is always going to be a little bit of an issue, because I have to make sacrifices of my energy to do the things I want to do outside of the gym. And of course, the first response is always, you're just not taking enough pre-workout. I take 500-600 milligrams a day every 5 minutes, and I feel wonderful. And, his heart's probably going to blow up when he's 35. But for me, let's say I did keep taking pre-workout that way, because I used to. Because right now, I'm young. I can abuse my body to an extent, I could probably do it, and I have done it, and it does work to an extent. But that's not what this program's about. It's not about feeling at my peak. It's not about feeling like I could push the world over my shoulders. It's about having the technical aspects and the core confidence in the lift itself before anything. So if I can't go into the gym feeling more tired than normal and have a decently good day, and I'm dependent on that excess milligrams of caffeine, I don't want it to be that way. Because the moment I have to deload, the moment I hit my next peak, the moment I hit any sort of heavy weight that I'm not ready for, I'm going to be diminished. I'm going to be dead. The pre-workout is no longer going to hit, because I'm telling you, if you've taken pre-workout for long enough, if you take 300 and or over, I think that's a lot. And if you take it every day, you will hit a baseline, and it will not hit anymore. And so on top of this lack of sleep and this lack of energy you have in the day, you're also going to have limited receptors to the caffeine in the first place. And caffeine anhydrous, which is in most pre-workouts, specifically the anhydrous part, makes you less hydrated. You got to drink a lot of water with that stuff. I found out firsthand how that can mess you up. I used to throw up a lot when I'd work out, and I didn't know why. An entire pub sub and and a 2 scoop of pre-workout, it wasn't great. Not my best, but that's how you learn. And so I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to do, but at the very least, set the standard of the day through your sleep pattern, adhere your goals to how much energy and rest you are actually getting. Because I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that I feel at 100% because I hit weights that I didn't think I was going to hit and it looked better than I thought it was going to look. I have to remind myself I felt like shit today. And that's a great thing. I did not feel at my best. I did not feel great. I was low energy, did not want to start. And I pushed through anyway and still went beyond my expectations and did excellent according to what I wanted to do, And I adhered that to my 6-hour days of sleep and doing these 12-hour night shifts with the psych patients because, oh boy, do they get rowdy sometimes. But one way or another, even if my schedule is set for night shift and I get used to it at some point, forcing your body to stay up through the AMs is never going to feel normal. Our bodies don't work like that. We are not nocturnal beings, So I have to remind myself that even though I feel like 425 to 445 for a triple could have gone, it's not worth pushing it while I'm low energy and I knew I felt like garbage. And just because I hit that one set does not mean that I should be able to push it right at the last second, Because then what's going to happen to me tonight when I go back to the hospital? Am I just going to black out in my chair? Can't be having that, Got to make a paycheck somehow, and then I want to enjoy the job. I want to make sure I can put enough energy and passion into everything that I do. I don't just want to go blow my back out at the gym and then go to the psych unit and be like, yeah, y'all got to take over for me. And especially with my home life, I got the girlfriend at home, I got the homies I want to hang out with. I want to put my energy into everything. And so if I start just blowing it all out of the water just because I have this instance of feeling okay when I know my sleep has been not great, then I'm setting myself up for failure. That was the whole reason that I was doing so poorly in the last couple programs, because I just kept going heavy and heavy and heavy with no volume and no conditioning and not worried about the technique. And I made the lifts so difficult that my technique still shone through, but it wasn't conditioned. It was just like a single, throw it, I'm good, go home, And that does not work for the long term, at least not for my long term, not what I want for myself. So I'm going to keep working on it. It's going to get better. I haven't worked 3 days in a row in a minute, so it's just, I'm getting used to it all again. It's going to be a transition. But I did see in the schedule, I've got a 5-day gap coming up between shifts. That'll be nice. Because the one good thing about 12-hour shifts is that you only work 3 times a week. And I am down for that. I am so down for that. Physically, being real with myself, just because it ended the way I wanted to, doesn't mean that represents the whole workout. Physically, it was like an 8.45. Still a great day, don't get me wrong. But for what I've been doing and how well I've been progressing, I had to make sacrifices on the energy today. It was not going to be exactly where I wanted it to be. However, mentally, I couldn't be happier, I, in fact, started a little bit shitty in the mental side, but almost immediately turned that shit around because I knew I was putting in my best effort and I knew I was prioritizing the right things. And I'm telling you, it's going to be so worth it. Not just tomorrow when I get to come in and do a chill snatch and a heavy bench session or whatever I feel like doing, but when I get to come back in the next couple weeks, peak week's going to be next week. That's when I get to do my singles again. That's going to be nuts. I wonder dude, if I can hit over 455 on a squat, that'd be crazy. In the first month, it might happen. You never know. But I'm not going to bank on it. And again, it's more so that I'm building up this base for the programs to come beyond this. I'm looking months and months and months in the future because I want to do what I used to do, where I could spend a whole year without plateauing because I go at my own rate and I don't overdo it all in one go. I leave just enough to come back with every time. So mentally, 8.95. It was not 9 territory. It was so damn close because the squats really brought it back. That's what really made me happy. But the clean and jerks did not make me feel that good today. The last set was great, but all the warm-ups, I was crying on the inside. Your boy wanted to go home. It's Sunday. Nobody's showing up at the gym today. But we made it. And tomorrow, it'll be so much more fun when I get to just do whatever I want and have no worry about my core or my technique because I'm leaving those as strong as I can without blowing them out of the water. So hopefully, after this shift, I'm off for a couple days, I can just sleep in tomorrow. You know, get the full 8 hours that I really, really need, and then come to the gym a little bit later so that I can chill out for the day. One way or another, I will be back. I appreciate y'all hearing me yap as I do. Let me know how your lives and your listening going, and I love you guys. I'll be back tomorrow. See you later. Bye.